How's the lighting?
Um, that's better.
Well, we have a few minutes. What would you like to talk about for a minute or two?
This is my first live.
Well done. See, it's a blurred background.
Okay. This will go up to everybody already. Yep.
Yeah. Hello, welcome. Put a comment in the chat if you're here, so we know you're here. And we'll start answering some questions here shortly. We'll give people time to join. Wait till a little bit after 8 o'clock. Please.
It's been 1 week since we've returned from the ship.
Yes. We'll talk about all of that shortly here. Welcome, everybody. It does feel surreal. It's been a week.
The 9 months has flown by.
Yes, it has. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Let's see, what time is it? We'll give it till 8 o'clock. Any questions, please drop them in the chat. We'll answer all your questions, and we have a list of questions we want to answer if we don't get asked any questions. We are home.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, can you grab that?
Yeah.
We got a beeping dishwasher that's going off. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Okay, go ahead and read that question.
Okay. Leah says, did you get to meet? I can't read it.
Okay, hold on here a second.
Stand by.
Can you read that?
Leah Prophet, did you get to meet with all
The World Cruise. The World Cruise people. Did we get to meet with all of them? Did we meet them all?
did we meet all the World Cruise people?
That's a good question. We did not.
No.
There was, I think, 665 of us, and we all kind of were in our own areas, in our own place.
Our little circles, and surprisingly, 7, 8, even 9 months into the World Cruise, we'd be talking to someone. Were you on the whole thing? Well, yes, we were. Well, this is the first time I've seen you or talked to you.
Where have you been? Well, where have you been? It was just really weird that we were just meeting people, and they had been on the whole thing. And what's the next question?
How does it feel to be home? Tina asks, how does it feel to be home? At first, it was a little strange. I came in, I didn't remember where everything was in the house. It looked familiar. It was good to be home in some ways, but I had to remember where all the dishes were and where everything went.
And it was really weird getting off the ship, and it felt like we were on another excursion in another country, but we were home. And then we were taken to the airport, got home, or got on the flight, got home, and then it's just like, is this our neighborhood? The streets had changed. They were under construction. They were done. Buildings were torn down. Buildings were built, and it just felt really surreal. Next question.
Next question. Love watching your journey, and my husband and I inspired to take a world cruise now. Would you do it again? That's
Absolutely.
Cruises for Life. Yes, I would.
Yeah, and they're going to announce the next world cruise next September on the reunion cruise. And so we have to see if they're going to do like a 4-month, 6-month, 9-month, and the destinations. Because we would have preferred more overnight destinations. instead of port, 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 port.
There are some ports that were outstanding. There are other ports, I'm glad I saw them. I don't need to see them again.
And then
And
we did what, 45 ports and 5 sea days in
in
Europe?
50 days, yeah,
I
that
think
was
yeah.
aggressive. But I would do it again, depending, of course, on the itinerary, the length, and the
Mhm.
cost.
Yep.
Kendrick asked, when is your next cruise?
Our next cruise is the end of October.
End of
We're
October.
going to do a transatlantic from Lisbon or to Portugal to Lisbon.
No, Port
Or
Canaveral
to Lisbon.
to Lisbon, Portugal.
And then we're going to fly up to Ireland, see one of our kids, and then fly back in time for Thanksgiving.
Denise asked, how many miles / steps did you walk in total?
Oh, total. That's a good question. I have a spreadsheet going. I have to finish that up. But we walk between an average of 8 and 12 miles a day.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
think we did probably minimum 10,000 steps, all the way up to 30,000 steps, depending on
Yeah.
the day. And then I did a lot of running on the ship too.
And then another question we get asked a lot is, what was our favorite port or favorite excursion or country or continent? What was yours, Tom?
It's hard to answer because they are so different yet so wow, marvelous. Um, I liked Antarctica a lot. Just the majesty, the peace, the quiet. That was incredible. I loved Iguazu Falls. That was also stunning. That seemed like something that came from a Hollywood backdrop.
But your favorite?
I also like Asia a lot. I probably like Korea the best,
Yep.
personally.
And why did you like Korea?
I was originally from Korea, so this was the first time in 60 some odd years that I've been back to Korea. So I
And
was,
what happened there?
yeah, so I was, a friend of mine from the FBI National Academy was from the Korean National Police Department. I've been keeping in touch with him. So when we arrived in, what was it, Busan?
In
Incheon.
Incheon.
Into
Incheon,
Incheon. He met us at the port there and drove us to Seoul, where I was born,
which was a 2-hour drive.
which is a 2-hour drive. He took me to the police station where I was dropped off as an infant, and it just so happened his best friend was the chief there, and so we got to have tea with the chief. Got to see talk to him a lot, see what's going on there, and they arranged for a DNA test to see if I had any relatives.
And the results of that?
And the results were, unfortunately, no. There were no relatives in the DNA database there, but they'll keep it on file, so in case in the future, as the DNA tests grow, if a match comes up, I'll be notified.
And Tom had already been in the Korean police database, so if any of his relatives had done a crime, but no relatives have done a crime. We also had his DNA in like 23andMe and Ancestry, and pretty much zero relatives.
No relatives there either.
But
1,000%.
But I put his story out on social media, and within a week of it being out there, someone on the ship contacted me and said, "Hey, you need to talk to Kim." And Kim is on the ship, and she had a similar story. So Tom and Kim met up.
So I met with Kim on the ship. It was just a mutual friend. This cruiser, I don't remember his name. Joe, was it?
I don't remember.
Anyway, had talked to Kim, found out Kim was also born in Korea, was an orphan, was taken to a police station in the city hall, and the whole orphanage. And then when he saw our story, he says, he was the one that put the 2 and 2 together, says, you two need to meet. So I met with Kim, and we compared notes. And we found out we were taken to the same police station, same city hall, to the whole orphanage at the same time. So we were there for 5 months together.
Crib mates.
Or soul siblings, since we were a soul. And yeah.
And then you flew to the U.S. before her.
Yep, I flew out in January. She flew out in March. So
they compared adoption paperwork right on the ship. Tom had a copy of his in picture format, and then she had her daughter send her a copy.
So even yesterday, we're exchanging more paperwork, of which we found the airline tickets.
Yeah.
So it's been quite interesting.
So another question is, how do we deal with living in the cabin for 9 months? So we actually started in an ocean view room on the 7th floor all the way forward. And about just before Africa, around in May, We upgraded to a junior suite on the 10th floor all the way
The stern.
aft.
Yeah.
And so that was nice to have the upgrade. There was some stipulations with the upgrade because the room was right under the windjammer. There was a lot of noise, so
Which is the cafeteria for the ship.
so they let us try it out for a couple nights to see can we live with the noise or not. We're like, we certainly can, especially with this room. So we got the upgrade and enjoyed the room the rest of the time from May to September.
Yeah. I think the key to enjoying your cabin is being organized. You have to be
Mhm.
organized. Don't take too much stuff. Make sure every place has a place and keep things clean and organized.
So speaking of too much stuff, we probably packed too much winter stuff. We thought we needed
Definitely.
more winter clothes for Antarctica, Iceland, Norway, Greenland. It turned out we were only in Greenland for one port because the other port got canceled. Definitely used it in Iceland, but we just didn't need all the heavy sweaters. We probably should have paid more attention that we were following spring and summer around the world instead of we need all these heavy sweaters and the winter coat was nice. I mean,
Yeah.
I still wanted to pack it.
Well, Chile was chilly.
Yeah.
Antarctica was cold. Iceland, Greenland definitely needed some sweaters and
Mhm.
just some jeans and some heavier clothes. But yeah, like Renee, I took way too many cold weather clothes.
And then we ended up buying more clothes as we went around the world because the laundry, we had free laundry, uh, 3 bags a week. But they basically cooked and baked our clothes in super hot water until we figured out, put on the sheet, cold wash only, hanging on hangers, and then our clothes weren't damaged as much.
Yeah, they wash a lot better. My black stuff came back purple right away, so
Mhm.
that was the first clue that they're using way too hot of water, and some things didn't fare as well in the wash as other things did.
So one of the first things we did when we did get home was we went to our favorite local cuisine, Culver's, just down the road. Uh, I think we went to probably 35 McDonald's while we were on the trip.
Yeah.
No Culver's around the world, to my knowledge. That
No, strictly
so,
U.S. based. Same with Chick-fil-A.
so went Culver's, Chick-fil-A, Firehouse Subs. We have not done McDonald's. We don't normally do McDonald's.
That's a
So
cruise thing.
yeah.
But the food on the ship has been very good. You know, the Windjammer, which is their sort of buffet cafeteria, has very good food. There's quite a selection, to enjoy. But after 9 months,
Mhm.
it gets old, and you need a variety. You need some change.
I think it got old because there wasn't enough spice, and that's coming from me who doesn't like a lot of spices to say that it wasn't spicy enough.
Yeah, they have to season the food to meet everyone's taste.
Mhm.
And I like spicy, and there definitely was not spicy.
So another question we have is how did you spend the time on the ship and what activities were available? So allegedly, supposedly, we are retired from our first career. So I did human resources for the first 35 years, and Tom, you were in law enforcement for 33 years. So what did we do while we were on the ship?
So when I came on the ship, I do some consulting and I teach a graduate course for the University of Maryland. And I had 3 cases that were sort of in the wind down phases when I came on the ship. And then as fate would have it, once we got on board, work exploded. So then I had 17 cases. So while we had a lot of ocean time, especially going around Africa, I had a lot of work to keep me busy during the day.
And I worked on videos. It usually takes about 8 to 10 hours to produce a video. So I would get up at 4:30 every morning and start doing the videos, and then we'd either have an excursion that day and entertainment that night, and just rinse and repeat. Get up at 4:30 the next morning, work on videos, get them out as soon as I could.
There were a lot of enrichment speakers
Mhm.
on board, so they brought a lot of enrichment speakers. So if
Did
there
we go to
wasn't,
those?
I did.
A couple.
I went to some. They had enrichment speakers for the ports that were upcoming, so you could learn something about the port. But they also had some unique personnel on board. They had one guy who was a Concorde pilot with a
Mm.
supersonic transport. So
Yep, I remember
he
him.
spoke for several days, and so I talked, I listened to him quite a bit. And yeah, they had some enrichment speakers. There were always activities going. So if you wanted to do trivia, you could do trivia. And their big thing was bago. They can't call it cornhole. They have to call it bago.
I think they did what, 57 Bago
60
tournaments,
tournaments,
something
something
like
like
that.
that. There are always tournaments going on. The egg drop contest.
Yep.
So the entertainment, there's always entertainment to be had. You could climb the rock wall if you wanted.
Which we
play
waited
mini
until
golf.
like the second last day to
Yeah.
climb the rock wall.
But there are always things to do. They have a beautiful gym there. You can go and exercise, or just walk around the deck, or listen to music.
Yep.
So there are always things going on.
Let's see. Another question that we have is, let's see. How have you managed after the Ultimate World Cruise and readjusting to normal life? Well, after eating our favorite food, we came home, unpacked, and the house was dusty. So I guess the next long cruise that we take, I would cover things up with sheets or some type of covering so everything's not so dusty.
Yeah, there's definitely some dust around after not being clean for 9 months.
How else did you adjust to normal life?
Well, I enjoy my large screen TV again. The ship cabin TVs aren't necessarily that large, so I enjoy my large screen TV.
The internet. More than one device attached to the internet. That's been amazing.
Yes. Things you take for granted. Your phone always working.
2-ply toilet paper. You take that for granted.
2-ply toilet paper is a big thing. Yeah, all your devices connected simultaneously to the internet. So when you have two-factor authentication, you don't have to steal your partner's internet.
Or wait until you get into a port and get on your phone to get internet.
Of course, every time you get into the port, it costs money.
So we have another question. How much planning did you do for the excursions and did you overplan? So we planned for the excursions probably a year out. We had a spreadsheet by segment of every port where there's a dock or tendered, what time we were going to dock or tender. We used Get Your Guide, Viator, Royal Caribbean excursions, but we didn't do many of that. And then there was this app called
GPS by City.
Yeah, GPS My City. That we're not sponsored by GPS My City, but that app was fabulous. It told us where all the landmarks were. We could walk to all of them, put them in the order we wanted to walk. So usually we went, like in the European countries, once we docked, we went to the furthest location out and then walked our way back so we were closer to the ship.
But some excursions we plan years in advance. Some of the diving we plan a year in advance. Other excursions are sort of let's get off the ship and wing it.
Another question is how did we handle taxes, medical care, and communication while on the cruise? So on the ship they had a dentist, a hygienist, and 3 doctors and several nurses.
Yeah, they had a full medical staff.
So we used the medical facility, I think, twice, and we each went to the dentist once. And it was fabulous. You had to pay you had to pay on your CPAS card and then reimburse through insurance. So we submitted all that and we're just waiting for reimbursement.
It was very nice they put the dentist on board because I didn't want to go 9 months between cleanings.
They also allowed the crew to go to the dentist. I think it was $25 for a cleaning. And when Michael Bailey, the CEO of Royal Caribbean, came on board, he said that in the newer ships they're going to be adding dental specifically for the crew to use. So that was nice. Let's see. Any other questions? Please throw them in the chat. I think you might be able to see the book behind me while I was on the cruise. I wrote a children's book, Setting Sail, Unforgettable Adventures, because elephants never forget. And Royal Caribbean, Al became a big hit on the ship. These are his crew tags and his World Cruise jacket, his safari jacket.
Became quite the mascot,
celebrity.
yeah, if you will.
And so Royal Caribbean is looking to put that book on all 28 ships in the entire fleet and Adventure Ocean for the kids. And there's 2 more books getting ready to be published out of 20 that I have in the process of writing for Al's Adventures Around the World. Okay. Were there unexpected challenges or pleasant surprises during the journey? Well, the pleasant surprise would be to Korea and locating Kim. Unexpected challenges.
2-factor authentication.
Yeah, that was immediate.
That was
when you couldn't get into your bank account right away.
some of the unexpected surprises, making relationships with a lot of the crew. So
Oh, yeah.
normally you have your room attendant, you meet them 7 days later. Thanks, it was nice. Thanks for making our bed. And away you go. With a journey of this length, you start forming personal relationships with a lot of the crew.
Mhm.
And so they stop becoming, well, that's just a cruise director. Well, no, that's Joff.
Yeah,
That's McKelly.
and that's his wife, and and McKelly brings his child on board later on. The cabin attendant, when we were on deck 7 forward, um, he texted me at 1 in the morning because his wife had a baby
He had
in
his first
India,
child.
and he's like, "Renee, it's a girl," and he still is texting me pictures of his child. And it was really hard to say goodbye to the crew and passengers after 9 months. And while you're on the ship for 9 months, the crew left for their contract was up if it was 4, 5, or 6 months, and then they came back
So they would go on
later.
vacation for a month, 2 months, 6 weeks,
And
somewhere
we're
in
like,
there.
"Welcome back," and they said that was so weird for passengers to welcome them back instead of them welcoming us back.
And they come back and they actually know a lot of people on the
Mhm.
ship.
Yeah. That was the other thing. When we got done with every excursion and got back onto the ship, the security people are always saying, "Welcome home, welcome home."
Even the captain pretty soon started
Mhm.
saying, um,
Hello, fellow
hello,
sailors.
fellow sailors,
Yeah.
rather than just give his announcement.
Did we have any memorable encounters with wildlife or nature? So we weren't intending to because we didn't know we were going around Africa because of the Suez Canal situation. So once we knew we were going around Africa, we then set up, I think, 3 safaris. And so we got to see elephants, giraffes, um, rhinoceros,
Cheetahs,
cheetahs,
hippopotamus,
yeah.
all the big animals.
And they were just right there. And one of the safaris, it was raining pretty good, and they were just out walking around.
We had somebody, actually in South America,
Mhm.
we had one of the tour guides go out and feed chicken to an
Okay.
18-foot crocodile. I wouldn't have done that, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
bold. It was a big, big crocodile. That was unexpected.
I thought he was going to slip when he was trying to back away. So
I guess they'll taste like chicken.
if you have any other questions, put them in the chat, please. We'll just keep going. What is the most unexpected lesson that we learned from the trip? Ooh, probably culture. Uh, Asia was pretty much how can I serve you culture? How can I help you?
Clean, no graffiti,
Orderly.
best bathrooms in the world.
And why are they the best bathrooms in the world?
Even the public bathrooms, super clean. Some of them have heated
Mhm.
seats, you know, bidets, air
Music.
drying, music. And like I say, they're clean. There's no graffiti. It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Um, let's see. What advice would you give someone considering the ultimate world cruise for personal development?
That's a you question.
Ugh, who came up with that one? What advice would you give someone considering an ultimate world cruise for personal development? It would definitely get you out of your comfort zone if you are an introvert to get out and meet people and experience new cultures. And the world is just so big, so beautiful. Just get out and see it.
I know some people had concerns. I can't leave my grandchildren behind, or I can't leave my children behind. I'll miss them too much. I'll tell you, with Zoom, Skype, and FaceTime,
And
uh,
Starlink internet.
and the Starlink internet, it works superbly
Mhm.
on the ship. We'd have video conferences on a regular basis,
And FaceTime.
and FaceTime, so we could see the grandchildren growing up. We could talk to the kids. We could talk to friends.
And
So
nothing replaces actually seeing them. I really enjoyed seeing the kids in Ireland and our grandson. That was tough to leave them though. So let's see. What items did we pack that turned out to be the most useful?
magnetic
Yeah,
organization racks in the shoe
yep,
rack, magnetic shoe rack.
definitely that. And then pre-packing all like the vitamins and day packs instead of bringing bottles and bottles. I just pre-packed them in the little packets so I could just grab the packet and take vitamins.
Yeah, I think the magnetic organizers,
Mhm.
those were outstanding. Okay.
What's the question? Oh,
So,
okay. How did you maintain your physical and mental health on board? We walked 8 to 12 miles, usually every day, and then you went to the gym when we didn't have excursions.
yeah. On the sea days, I would go up to the gym and I would exercise in the gym. Exercise is always a good way to maintain fitness and manage stress. So I just try to improve my 5K times, during
Mhm.
the sea days, get some strength work in. And we would just walk around the
Yeah.
ship.
And then for mental health, all you have to do is just look out in the ocean. It was just gorgeous to watch the sunrise or the sunset or the rain or the rainbows.
So the whales go by,
Yeah, it
or the
was.
dolphins. So it was pretty easy.
Did we learn any new languages or skills during the trip? Nope.
Sadly, no.
No.
We should have taken better advantage of that opportunity. I've tried to learn Espanol several times, and I always sort of just stall out. And some of our table mates used to teach Spanish, and I
Yeah,
didn't take good advantage of that opportunity.
she did try to teach me to roll my R's, and I still can't do that. Let's see. How did you connect with other passengers on such a long journey? So the content creators, Frugal Vagabond, which is Leah, got all the content creators together, usually every couple weeks, and got to meet a lot of them and make friendships with some content creators. Plus, you're in the main dining room. You always have your table mates that switch out every leg. You get to meet them, participating in the trivia. You can meet new people.
Just going on excursions, you sit
Um,
next to somebody new on the bus. Hi, I'm
mhm,
so and so. Hi, I'm Tom. And you get to talk and you get to meet people
mhm,
on the excursions, or just sitting in the auditorium. They had different entertainment
mhm.
virtually every night.
Yep.
And so we could go in there, you sit next to some people, or you start staying in the same areas and all the same people are around there. You get to meet people that way.
Or you're passing them in the hallway, the same person every time, and then you're like, okay, we'll say hello, get to know them.
Yeah. Um, we had a 1 year kickoff pre-cruise,
Um,
and we met many of the world cruisers the year ahead of time. So it's like, hi, we're back. So we've already had some relationships coming into it. And then you make new ones on the ship on excursions.
yep. And then at our table, the first leg was a lady who's 81 years old, happens to live 30 miles away from us. And then another couple who lives 30 miles the other direction was at our table. Everybody was in law enforcement previously, or their spouse was. And so that was our core group for the
First and last legs.
yeah. And then we were at a table of 10, so other people switched in and out. And then around Africa, it was just Tom and I at the table of 10 with uh, the one lady from Georgia who's a single cruiser. So it was kind of like our own private yacht around Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question. How did the cruise line address environmental concerns during the journey or geopolitical?
The geopolitical events. Yeah, that changed quite a bit as we went around through the cruise. So initially, we were supposed to go to St. Petersburg, Russia, and Odessa, Ukraine, and then the war started. So those two were instantly off the list. We were supposed to go to Maui, Hawaii, and then the fire hit, took that off the map. So we went to another island in Hawaii instead.
And then
We were supposed to go to Israel.
in Ecuador.
The war started there in Ecuador. They had a lot of political issues over a small revolution, and so we chose not to go there.
The Royal Caribbean, at least I feel that they handled everything. Our safety was first. They pivoted on a dime as soon as something changed. They're just like, okay, this is where we're going. This is how we're changing it. And then we went around Africa, and provisions were left in Europe, and they had to get them new provisions down in Cape Town.
It generally they order provisions 3 months ahead of time because they know where the ships are going to be. Now suddenly we can't. We have to pivot. We're not going through the Suez Canal and in through the Red Sea where we thought we were going to be, or we're not going around Africa. So logistics wise, they have to arrange for food and fuel around there.
Mhm.
Even on a shorter term, we were hit by a train strike in Machu Picchu. So the only way to get there is by train, and they went on strike when they heard the world cruise is coming. And so they had to pivot suddenly. We had to put banquets at a different area. We had to arrange tours
Yeah.
to a different area, and they were seamless.
Yeah.
I mean, the people scrambling in the background were impressive. That's one of the things I was most impressed with.
And we did find out just before we left the ship that the provisions that were set for Europe, that they left there and they tried to catch up with the ship. It was like $75,000 in a container, the food that they're going to donate
Donate
to
now to
wherever the
them.
container is.
Yeah.
So that was a sunk cost for them. How did we adjust to the changing routines, time zones during the cruise? So I calculated that we did 31 time zone changes and we crossed the equator 6 times, but technically 8 because the captain did a donut the first time we went around the equator. But adjusting was pretty easy.
I tell you, if you want to see the world, doing it on a cruise is the best way to do it. We went west, so pretty much we gained an hour every time there's a time change. And
Mhm.
so if you fly, for example, from the United States to Australia, you have a massive time change, massive jet lag, and it's going to take you 2 days on either end to recover just to get back on your feet. When we made Australia, we were feeling great.
Yeah. And then there were people from the States that were catching the ship in Australia and they had jet lag for 2, 3, 4 days.
Yeah, and even when we went east the other way, the most you lost was an hour, and an hour is not going to
Mhm.
kill you. So cruising was by far the best way to see the world.
Another question is, what would we recommend bringing or leaving behind for future world cruisers? So leaving behind, we took with us a 4-inch memory foam mattress topper because we knew we were going to sleep in this bed for 9 months and we wanted to be comfortable. So what we did is we left that mattress topper behind, and both captains. So we had 2 captains during the world cruise and 2 ice captains for Antarctica and 2 ice captains for uh, Norway and Greenland, Iceland. So we left the mattress topper to the captains.
The primary captains of the ship.
Yeah.
So
And the wife of one of the captains that we got to know, it was very grateful to have the mattress topper. We also left
a couple throw pillows.
and a pillow that she wanted, and then a computer stand. She wanted that as well.
We also had a donation area. So if you had clothing that you didn't want, didn't need, couldn't pack, wouldn't fit in anymore, they had large donation boxes, and they earmarked that for the people in Haiti.
And they were actually going to ship them there.
Yeah, and so there were several large pallet-sized boxes full of clothing that guests had donated. There was also a table set up there for a lot of toiletries and other items that you wanted to leave for the crew. There's the front of the house crew that you saw that interacted with a lot, but there's a lot of behind the house,
The back of the
behind
house.
the back of the house crew. You know, the engineers, the mechanics, a lot of those people who also could use
Mhm.
a lot of what we had extra of.
And that was the other thing they did different, speaking of the crew front and back of the house, is when they did the top tier event of who's on board for gold, diamond plus, and platinum, pinnacle. They also had employee of the month and an appreciation, but for both front and back of the house. So they would bring out everybody who was nominated for the employee of the month and then tell us who the winner is.
Manager of the month.
And
Yeah.
so that was nice to see, and we asked if they could do that on future cruises.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Any other questions?
I do plan on doing a breakdown of all the expenses, how much the cruise cost, almost not to the penny, but pretty close, based on the upgrade, the excursions, taxis, just
Cause you may not have thought of when you're planning for your
Yeah.
cruise.
So I do plan on putting a video out on that. If you want any other videos or information about the World Cruise, just drop it in the chat and I can see what I can do. If there's no other questions, thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.